Hi, I'm Mark Kelley, and welcome to the show. Well, when the medical studies don't work, when the public education has failed, when government policy is a bust, what's the last resort to change public behavior? Scare the hell out of people. It worked for smoking, it worked for drinking and driving, and doctors in the United States are hoping it will work for obesity. They've just launched a controversial ad campaign, a commercial airing right now in Washington, that takes aim at one fast food giant laying death at his doorstep. Take a look.
High cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart attacks. Tonight.
Well, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine produced the ad, and it isn't the first time fast food companies have come under attack. You know, just 2 years ago, LA banned new fast food restaurants in part of that city. That ban, though, is set to expire soon. But proponents are now pushing for a permanent version. Earlier this year, Santa Clara County in California banned the free toys that come with high-calorie kids' meals, a measure to fight childhood obesity. And the UK has been considering a so-called fat tax for years, an extra charge applied to high-calorie or fatty foods, though so far that campaign has failed. So there's no doubt. The war on obesity has chosen its target, the companies that feed our appetite. And while this latest commercial tries to hit viewers in the gut, a new report from Manitoba aims for the wallet. It says 55% of Manitobans are overweight or obese. 45% are inactive. The report warns that will cost taxpayers $4.5 billion over 15 years. And that will mean less money for roads and infrastructure and possibly higher taxes. Okay, so what's the answer? Is it ads and laws that target the McDonald's and Burger Kings of the world, or a little something called no? As in, no, I will not go to the drive-thru again. A heaping helping of personal responsibility. Well, my next guest calls himself a former fat person. Stephen Siebold is the author of Die Fat or Get Tough. He joins me tonight from Atlanta, Georgia. Stephen, thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
And now I know, and you've said that you went through this period of your life where you said you would think fat in a way that you saw the world around you. I mean, how were you living when you were a fat person, as you call yourself?
Well, in a nutshell, I was eating for pleasure instead of eating for health.
So tell me what that was like. I mean, were you popping into the fast food chains? Was that becoming your dietary source?
Mark, I was popping in everywhere, let me tell you. I travel all over the world giving speeches for companies on mental toughness training for sales teams. And so I'm in airports, hotels, all over the world, fast food restaurants, just not paying attention, and I got fat.
But, okay, but you may not be a doctor, but clearly you know when you're walking into these places that the food you're eating are, high in sodium, high in fat, not good for you, and yet you kept going back there. Why were you doing that if you have the common sense to know better?
I wasn't thinking. It was my fault completely. It wasn't McDonald's fault. It wasn't Burger King's fault or any other company's fault for serving the food. They're trying to make a profit. I'm doing what I do, and that's making choices. I made the wrong choices and decided to change it, got mentally tough, and fixed it.
And that's the message that you spread to people when you talk to them, is it's really don't blame, don't paint yourself out to be a victim. It ultimately comes down to the choices you make as an individual.
No question. Last year I wrote a book called Die Fat or Get Tough, and it's a mental toughness book for dieters, and it basically says, if you're fat, it's your fault. Grow up, get tough, and fix it.
Okay, well, I want to bring in Dr. Neil Bernard now. He's the president of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. They're the group that's behind the ad that we saw earlier in the program. Doctor, thank you for coming in tonight. And what's your view on this? Because I want to know that too. I mean, where did we draw that line between personal responsibility and corporate responsibility?
I think for people to be able to exercise their personal freedoms, they have to have information. And a surprising number of people these days are unaware that the foods at McDonald's and other fast food chains is linked to high cholesterol levels, high blood pressure, heart attacks, and that sort of thing. Once people know that, they can make choices for themselves and their children. Keep in mind, we're not necessarily talking about terribly well-educated people. We may be talking about children of 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age. And McDonald's doesn't want to tell you that a meaty, cheesy burger is going to lead to a heart attack. So doctors like me get that message out so that people can make choices themselves. I remember years ago a researcher said, when you see the golden arches, you're probably on the road to the pearly gates. Well, I think that people are probably thinking something different when they go into the golden arches these days.
Now, you with this ad, or your group, could have targeted the fast food industry at large. Instead, you really focused in on the golden arches. Why did you do that?
Well, McDonald's is ubiquitous, and they're pushing a terribly unhealthy menu, not only throughout North America, but throughout the rest of the world. I was in India recently, and in the airport there is McDonald's food, unfortunately edging out many healthier choices. A single Big Mac has 29 grams of fat. A double quarter pounder with cheese, 42 grams of fat. That's enough fat to last you for 2 days. And they bring in families who obviously have children. You're concerned about your children, so they'll say, here, have a Happy Meal, go to the playground, get toys and so forth. And unfortunately, nowadays, 1 in 3 children in North America is overweight. 1 in 3 will develop diabetes. This is serious stuff. We need to work together to stop that. Now, the healthiest choices are people who don't eat meat, period. People who follow a totally vegetarian diet. But on the other hand, if people at least make healthy choices now and again, we're going to be much ahead of the game.
Well, Stephen, I want to bring you back into the conversation here and get your view on this, because this is, you know, a different tack at getting people to eat properly. You're saying get tough, and I guess what the doctor's saying here is that people are just making the wrong decisions. How do we square this?
Well, I think attacking McDonald's by this group was completely wrong. I don't think this group is evil. I think their intentions are good, but attacking an American institution, a phenomenal international corporation based in the United States, is un-American. This is our way of living in the United States. We're free to make choices. If I want to hurt my health by eating a McDonald's cheeseburger, it's my right. And for a group to come along and blame McDonald's for my personal choices it's insulting to intelligent people. And I would have to disagree with the doctor and say a 12 or 13-year-old kid today, they know what's good for them and what's not. And I think that's an excuse.
Wait a sec. You bring your 7-year-old daughter into McDonald's and you order, what's the healthiest thing? Maybe I'll have the grilled chicken sandwich. Did anybody tell you that that grilled chicken sandwich has carcinogens on it called heterocyclic amines? McDonald's knows, but I'm guessing that nobody watching this program knows. You know why? Because McDonald's will not tell them. So as a doctor,
personal responsibility, doctor. Personal responsibility. That's up to the individual, not up to you.
You can only exercise personal choices if you have the information to do it. If you're buying a car, you'd have to know that that car is safe. And if there are things that the manufacturer knows and they hide it from you, that's a problem. McDonald's knows full well that the cheese that they're putting on top of their burgers is loaded with saturated fat. They know that the saturated fat is a major contributor to high cholesterol levels. And our job as physicians is to make sure that people understand that. And once people understand that, then they can make choices for themselves. The concern I have is that we're clearly losing that battle. People need good information, and then they can make healthy choices.
Well, if it's good information is going to lead to better personal choices, Stephen, I mean, you must agree with that. Fundamentally, it's going to come down to making better choices, which is a personal responsibility. But if you have the information, you can make the right choice.
Go on the website, McDonald's website, go on the internet. You can find out all this information online. This information is out there. People are not stupid, you guys. This is un-American. We're free to make our own choices. Again, if I want to drink alcohol, if I want to smoke cigarettes, I agree with the doctor. It's going to hurt me, but it's my personal choice. We live in a country of personal choice. That's what we fought for. That's what we've died for. And I think that's what we need to stick to instead of having the government and groups like this tell us what to do.
It's an active debate that's going on, and clearly we're not going to settle it tonight, but I'd like to thank you both for coming in and giving us your sides of this. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, McDonald's responded to that new commercial today, and as you can imagine, wasn't impressed. The spokesperson for the company said this commercial is outrageous, misleading, and unfair to all consumers. McDonald's trusts our customers to put such outlandish propaganda in perspective and to make food and lifestyle choices that are right for them.